Hey everybody, Pastor Zach here. Thanks so much for spending some time with me today, Tuesday morning, as we gather together as always for some time of discussion. This is your time. This is time for you to ask questions, share comments, share prayer concerns, to have an opportunity to build community. Whether you are here locally in our community or whether you are far away, connecting virtually with our community, we invite you to be present with us, to walk together. And I think, if I remember, we've talked about this concept before a little bit, but I want to dive into it a little bit deeper this morning, unless there's something else that comes to someone else's mind, if someone else has a question or a thought or a comment that leads us somewhere else. But I was really struck by this notion of walking together. Some of you know we have a dog. His name is Malu, which is Hawaiian for one who evokes peace. We may have been quick to name him, because there are times when he evokes peace, but not very often. He's a very high energy dog, and a very protective dog, which in the one hand is great, but in the other hand, he's a lot of work. He was rescued, was 2 when we got him, and was mistreated. He was left in a basement 24/7. And so he's got so much to learn. He's basically a puppy and a young dog. So imagine having a child that's a baby and a toddler and a teenager all rolled into one, and that's pretty much what he is. But he loves to go for walks, and as my wife and I do. And so often we try to take him daily for various walks. But this past Sunday, when it was so beautiful out, we went walking with him at one of the local parks. And unfortunately, our biggest challenge is right now he's still struggling to be around other dogs. And so while we are able to walk together, we're not able to walk with others together. And so often we find ourselves trying to navigate, how do we stay away from others? And I think that really is striking for me in our world today. We often want to navigate away from people who disagree with us, away from people that have different views. And I think all of that has caused us to lose the ability and maybe the desire to want to walk with others. And that's hard, because what we are called to do faithfully is to do just that, to walk with each other, even and especially when it's hard. This past Sunday, we had worship, and my sermon was on keeping God at arm's length and Jesus cleansing the temple. That's up on our Facebook page, the church's Facebook page, and I'm currently working on putting the whole service on our YouTube channel, but also cutting snippets of our music and also our the sermon, and putting those shorts up. So if you want to access them, you can. But for this time, what strikes me is, what does it mean to walk together? What does it mean to walk next to one another? What does it mean to, walk ahead, to clear a path, to walk behind, to encourage? How do we walk? How do you walk with someone? We walk with people differently depending on what circumstance they're going through, whether it's the loss of a loved one, or the joy of new birth, or the struggles of life, the pain of challenges, or the mundaneness of daily life. And I think often we struggle with how to do that. And some will say, well, if they can't keep up, I'm just going to keep going. But what does it look like if we take those moments, those opportunities to slow down, to walk with, to encourage, to pick up those that fall, to reach out for those that need assistance, to help to bridge the gap, to find ways forward, to live into new and different understandings, to be open to go on a new trail, be willing to get muddy, and be willing to guide when needed. I think it's important for us, for me, to remember all of that. And Malu, our dog, reminds me of that far too often. Because there are times when I just want to have a conversation with my wife, and when we are walking, he lets us know that at that point it's all about him. And it's interesting. I joke often that I feel sometimes like Marmaduke, the old Marmaduke comics, where he could easily be pulling me down the road and I just fly behind him, holding onto the leash. But it's those opportunities. It's those connections. Not just with him and my wife, or our family when we go for family walks. But it's the support, it's the care. My son that runs track and cross country, whose coaches have instilled a culture of supporting one another as runners, to encouraging them, to encouraging each other as they run. It's powerful to experience. And it's an opportunity, I think, for us to reevaluate, to reexamine, to refocus, especially during this season of Lent. I had a great conversation with someone on Sunday who was unfamiliar with the concept of Lent. And if you are one of those people and want to know more, let me know, and I can do a quick one of these just about Lent and what we believe and the understanding behind it. And I think it's all of those things. It's how do we be open to each other? How do we engage in the work that God is calling us to do? How do we find ways forward? How do we see people and walk with them even though we may not agree with them? Yeah. I want to thank you for spending some time with me today. As always, we invite you this week on site only for our midweek worship and meal. We have a soup and bread meal at 6 o'clock here in our adult faith formation room in the back by our gym, that all are welcome to join in, and then a worship to follow with discussion. And on Sunday mornings at 8:30 and 10:30, as we worship together on site and online, as we seek to go through this season of Lent and draw ourselves closer to God and to walk together. I invite you to join with us with those, or find different opportunities online that you can join in together, or those on site, where we continue to build up this community, where we continue to walk together to find ways forward. Thank you all for spending a few moments with me today. Hope you have a great day, everybody. We'll see you soon. God bless.